So I think it's a little bit unfair for statements like this, because if we look at, California, they have rolling blackouts every summer because of the heat, and they know it's going to be hot. And they're one of the most progressive states as far as renewable energy and wind and,
Hmm.
and whatnot. And so I see some people posting memes where crews had criticized um, California, and they just kind of crossed out words and replaced it with Texas and crossed this without, and it fits in. But you're comparing something that happens every single summer in California to a once in a century storm in Texas, and it doesn't seem fair. And then for AOC to say, "Oh, if you just follow my plan," which the facts are, the things that were the renewable energy in Texas, those things completely failed as well. So let's pretend for a second that 10 years ago Texas adopted all the stuff the AOC wanted, and they were
Hmm.
completely ran on that. Everything would have shut down even worse, and they wouldn't have even had any reserves in place to get them the things that they did have. So it just seems like a very short-sighted response that's kind of like a gotcha moment without thinking through
Right.
the
Well,
situation.
and I honestly feel like we need to stop with the gotchas when
Hmm.
it comes to instances like these. I
Yeah.
think that that's where politics becomes just nasty. And that's where I think I've come to the point where, I have ideas that fit and ideas that don't fit. And I wouldn't align myself with a political party because of that. And I think we're at a point where this country is so divided, and things are just nasty. And I think that there should be no place for these politically driven remarks or like anybody who may. I think that's off color for her to say that during this time.
Hmm.
I think it's off color for. I think it's off color that Ted Cruz went on vacation. I think it's off color for AOC to say, well, if you would have done this, like, we're not going to say, I told you so when people are dying.
Hmm.
What is that going to do?
Yeah.
Saying I told you so isn't going to get more funding to those people who need it. So how about we save that for later? And when we get the situation cleaned up, then you can come back and say, well, here's what may have been a better solution.
Hmm.
It's not fair to do that at the time it's going on. It's insensitive.
Hmm. Yeah. I agree with you. And I especially think, I mean, it's hard to make a blanket statement where I can say that's never acceptable, because I understand why people want to take advantage of that moment while it's fresh in people's mind and say, hey,
To
if we
forward
had,
their own agenda, and that's
yeah, yeah. So and that's kind of the thing that politicians do. And this this phrase that I've been hearing a lot with every crisis is an opportunity. I hate that, but unfortunately it's true in a sense, because it's the most opportune time to make change. That's the why every time there's a shooting, everybody goes hard on,
right.
this is the time we need to make new laws and restrict this and
Right.
that. So it's hard to tell people not to do it, because it is the best time to do it, but it's also the worst time to do it from like
Yeah.
a humanities standpoint or a moral
Right.
standpoint.